Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI. Yeah, this morning on ITV. It's all about the demands of governors. They're asking for 40% allocations and tongues are beginning to wag. Why place a demand? Is it connected to the prevalent economic situation, or is it tied around the minimum wage? Or this is an avenue to get that share when you talk about the national cake? And how is it going to impact on the lives of Nigerians, on your life, my life, our life collectively? Well, with me here in the studio to do justice to this talk, they are standing here on their own personal ground. They're here to represent any association. Joining to welcome Barrister Douglas Obankwa, a legal practitioner, and of course the PRO of Benin NBA chapter. Barrister, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, good morning, Jazz.
All right. So very close to him is an erudite professor. Yes. And of course, when we talk about political issues, he's well grounded. Social issues, he's well grounded. Both local and international politics, he is on point. Joining to welcome Dr. Ralph Ehigato. Doc, welcome to the show. Engineer Professor, thank you for the correction. Yeah. All right, so a prof is an engineer. Now sitting very close to me is one-time SSA to Edo State Government and Community Matters, a political analyst. Join me to welcome Collins Osagai. Welcome to the show, Collins.
Thank you very much, Whitson.
Appreciate your comment.
Thank you very much.
Here we are. The governors, at first, they placed demand on the federal government to increase the allocation, but they didn't mention the percentage. This time around, they are more forthcoming, so to speak. They say they need 40% allocation for the federation account. And Nigerians have been asking questions. What in the world do you need it for? Collins, I want to start off from you. The governors asking for this 40% allocation for the federation account. Is this timely? Is it really worth it? Are they justified in asking for the 40% allocation?
Whitson, thank you very much. You and I know this isn't an agitation that just started yesterday. Neither did it start with Buhari administration. It has since been on. The Governors Forum, to an extent that they have to go to courts, you know, asking for a larger percentage or a certain percentage, you know, from the federal allocation. But all to the fact that we do not practice a true federalism. Because if we do, all this wouldn't be coming up. Because there are already statutory way of handling governance and including the economy and what comes out from it. But owing to the fact that we are operating a banana republic system, and you will not expect anything short of what you are seeing now. And I am sharing the same opinion with them, because one, federal government is not federal. The dividends of democracy is not coming forth. We walk on the street. Where do you see any federal government presence in anything? Apart from the NDDC, we are basically seeing right now who is doing so well in fixing roads across the state. Particularly, I'm talking for Edo State. Now, growing beyond that, because one, that is an agency who also get his votes, you know, more like they get their vote even before they do the disbursement, you know, from whatever the federal government gets. So I think it's ripe enough, since we cannot practice a true federalism, because nepotism have also dipped into the governance. So I think many of the governors now just find out that the people at the center just does it the way it favors them, not necessarily to impact on the people. So then why are we dancing around? You know, insecurity is still abating seriously, and you need security to work out the economy. So if some of these governors is agitating for a larger percent from what they used to get, I think it's not wrong as action. Because one, you know, if people are applauding Lagos today, Lagos is doing well. Lagos security-wise, they are doing so much. They are buying helicopters, they are doing this, they are getting all the gadgets for their security outfits, all to the fact that they have enough revenue, you know, to throw around.
All right, all to the fact that Lagos State have enough revenue, according to you, to throw around. But many persons would take exception of you calling our republic a banana republic. So please be guarded.
No, I said we're operating more like...
No, we are not operating the banana republic. This is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Prof, let me come to you. He said the governors, they are in their right to demand for 40% allocation from the federal government. Over to you.
Yeah, absolutely, he has said that we know that it's the first time. But how is that issue? Because I will ask the what are the people now that you know what are they able to do? See, we are looking for more revenue, and they want to turn out. So it's another issue. Because if you have a proper education of the place that has actually monitor the activities of this government, then I can say we are doing right. But for the fact that the one they are giving before, they are giving now, security post like 500 million naira every month. What are they doing with it? And my governor said, yeah, sorry, sir,
no,
that the security issue in the state. But they are giving money to what they're doing. You know, so those are my reservations. If actually practice federalism as done by Sweden before, I think what are the ways to make money in the center? But it's that keep your money. What we have actually is more than what everybody goes there. If we reduce the revenue from the federal to state, you know, it's very good. But government, what are they doing with it? Well, Paris report 1, 2, 3. What have they done with it? Look at what happened with which state with it. I was there around January this October this year. The lecturer told me that for 15 months. That's not the paid.
15 months?
Yes.
That's why, yeah.
So what are we talking about? So this is the issue. If we cannot check these governors who favor their friends and their allies, forget about the masses, then we are nowhere. So if we have actually independent as well as in each state, they can check it. Yes, that's possible. But if not, it's an issue. We're reaching more few people. What other people, our other citizens who vote, who vote for the government, who support, but that will happen our state. You can see what are you talking about? Just power and what control.
Self-interest.
It's just that's all. Not for the interest of the people.
All right. I'll come back to you, Prof. As a legal practitioner, barrister of Bankwa Dollars have spoken at length. Now, from what Collins said, he said the governors, they are right to ask for that 42% or 40% allocation for the federation account. While Prof threw a question at the governors saying the ones given to them, how was it spent? He gave an example, pathetic example of what happened in Kogi State, where persons or civil servants are being owed salary for more than a year, 15 months to be precise. So, asking for the sharing formula, increasing the allocation. How do you feel about it?
Well, I think first, let me start from where we are now. The revenue sharing formula as it's presently constituted, it's not fair at all. You have a scenario where the federal government has just a little above 52% of the total revenue that is being generated in this country. Then the state governments have, that's all the federal government is just one, if you remember. All the state governments have just over 26% of all the revenue raised, while the local governments have just over 20% of all the revenue generated in this country. You know, and the way it is tilted is also the way in which functions are being, you know, shared. You know, the Constitution as it is talks about the exclusive legislative list, where you have about 68 items, some of which the federal government has no business doing. Things like weight and measures, for example. You understand? Very, very infinitesimal things they put on the federal list. The state government have things that, very pedestrian things, that are, what's it called, residual. Then the concurrent ones are also very important issues like education, like health, and roads and all that. So I think the way it is, the governors are on point if they wanted a higher revenue allocation. The application of the resources is another issue altogether. Experience have shown us that when you have a governor that knows his onions, he applies the resources very well. So having to say that we will not review the revenue formula because some governors have not been able to apply it very well, it's like begging the question. We should review it because the way it is, 52% is too much. And again, we should also realize that the revenue sharing formula as it apparently was last done around 1999-2000 when the democracy started in Nigeria. It is the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, the RMAFC, that is constitutionally imbued with the powers to restructure the revenue sharing formula. And I think states and even the federal government should look beyond this oil thing and maybe this personal income tax thing. You know, that's how they generate their revenue. At the federal government, they generate their money from oil and maybe company income tax. At the state level, it's from the personal income tax. There are very many areas of our lives that you have too many luxuries and no taxations. For example, you look at private jets. You should be able to make taxation at that level very high. When you look at people owning private yachts and private islands, these are lifestyles that are ostentatious in nature. And for people to be able to get to that level of owning such ostentatious kind of prized assets, they should have a lot of money. Then again, Nigeria is one of the few countries in the world where you see someone is building a house, the tax authorities do not come and say, we want to see your tax papers. Do you understand? Most of the people that have tax issues in this country, they are the poor. When you see them being charged, there are those that don't have anybody, that don't know anybody. The real rich people is that they don't pay tax, or they evade tax, or when they want to pay tax, they pay very low tax, so they have so much money. So we should be able to, someone is building a mansion, the tax authorities will go there and say, sir, please, let us look at your papers. What do you do? Are you paying your tax? Because the truth is, society has moved on from this scenario. We go into Abuja every month to go and share money. I said this in one of the programs I came in this station, that Nigeria is the only country in the world where ministers, commissioners of finance will fly to Abuja with the minister of finance and that of, they will not be sharing money. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world.
I was sharing money for the benefit of the states, of course, because it's not their own personal money.
No, I know, but I'm just trying to tell you that in most parts of the world, the states, that's what we talk about, fiscal federalism.
You're right.
How did we start in this country? By the 1960 Constitution, the states generate revenue and paid royalties to the federal government. Why don't you go back to that template of fiscal federal? Let us generate our, why must oil be on the exclusive legislative list? If you discover oil in your land, that land automatically belongs to the federal government. And it's only in this country that such thing happens.
All right, now you're talking about resource control. We'll come to that. Now, Collins, you talked about the governors being in the right, but the prof mentioned of some situations whereby money, for instance, the Paris reform, 1, 2, and so on and so forth, were given to state governors, but still they were not able to account for the money. Do you think that will be the same case as this?
You know, I only believe the problem we've had in the recent time is that our hopes are so high on some persons who ordinarily could not even deliver in their homes, not to talk of deliver outside their homes. Why have I not said that? Now, when the Paris reform was made, there were indeed matching orders. But it's one thing to bag, it's another thing to bite. So we have seen this federal government many a time giving matching order on a mere say and unable to bite. So what I am trying to say in nutshell, now Paris order was disbursed and many governors failed to adhere. Some even went to keep it on a fixed deposit on their own account and collected as much as how much they wanted as benefit and choosing to disperse it when it finally goes to their own their own conviction that it was time to pay teachers or pay what have you, which they were meant to use them for in many of the states, or pay salaries. And now nobody has been able to check them. Now who checks the federal government? Do we have a judiciary that is truly independent, that a layman can go to the court and say, oh, we already foreseen foul play in social institution or agency. Please, the court, help us. These other people will also come back, the same government will come to the judiciary and seek for an injunction, whether interlocutory, whatever injunction, because there's so many injunctions now existing, and the same court will grant and say, do not investigate this thing. We have seen it happen. They will mandate House of Assembly to stop functioning. An executive will leave his own arm of government, jumped into another one, into that of a legislature, and tell you they cannot function. And the court will be so, should I say, kind enough or wicked enough to say, go ahead, they should not exist. On what ground? When there are already laws that make for separation of power. But it's quite unfortunate. That was why I said we nearly operate more like a banana republic.
Where you know that we don't operate a banana republic.
I said nearly.
Watch that
because
statement.
why I have no, my brother. Yeah. See, we must be frank to ourselves sometimes. I have not just made a clear assertion. It's a corner one. Almost. Meaning some are already operating in banana fashion, while some are still trying to say how it can be corrected. Now, I do pray that the judiciary, I have always said this repeatedly in any of my interviews, that the onions of this country to grow or to depreciate lies in the hands of the judiciary. They may see themselves not having capacity enough. We have had the same time where they've cried and say, oh, many of their big lawyers, their sons, where you see them talk on TV, on public media, and say the judiciary have been hijacked. Who hijacked you? If you know they want to hijack you, why are you there? It's quite unfortunate that these guys can't speak out. To be a lawyer, I had wanted to do a law all my life. But unfortunately, that wasn't God's plan for me. Now, if you had the courage to have said, I want to be an advocate. What is the word advocate? An advocate means one who stands for others. But unfortunately, these people are not standing for the people, forgetting that you receive statutory salary. Right. But in all shame, my brother, the governors are asking for a certain percentage. Now, there are other arms of government which to a very large extent is independent from the federal. So the federal government cannot, even if they go to the court tomorrow and say, so have been shared, the federal government cannot give you a matching order on how to spend my resources. Of a truth, if the law go by what they have documented in their own constitution we are parading today as constitution that is managing this country, then the federal government has no right to tell me how to use my money. All right. So if you have shared, you have shared. It's better for me to do it in a way with my people and know how it will benefit them. Who checks the federal government today?
I'll come back to you, Collins. Prophets, like you have so much to react to his comments. Go ahead. You have the floor.
I think that the one problem we have is constitutional
judiciary.
And the lawyers. I'm sorry, I must be.
Okay.
They advocate. They don't advocate people. Rather, they advocate for their pocket. There's no advocate. They don't advocate for people. Their pocket.
All right. Prof, now you just hold on. We want to go for a break. When we return, you continue with your chain of thoughts. Okay, we'll be right back. Do stay with us.
We guarantee unbiased analysis on topical issues
that will educate you,
entertain you.
So join us.
Join us.
Join us. Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Every Sunday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television. This morning on ITV TMI. Join us.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
Okay, if you just join us, this is TMI. We're taking a look at the sharing formula that the federal government and of course the state government having this banter, so to speak. The state government are asking for more. We need more. Nigerians are asking questions, the ones given to you before. What have you done with it? Others are saying, yes, you are in your right to ask, to demand for the allocation to be increased. I have analysts here to really throw more light on this issue. Prof, you were talking about the judiciary being the problem, so to speak, right now in this country. Continue from there.
In my view, I'm not that the judiciary is the problem of this country. They ought to advocate for the common man, rather they advocate for their pocket. They hire bidder. You can see a governor knows that what he's doing is wrong. He will go to court A in Port Harcourt and say, stop this investigation. Somebody stole money. They say you go to a court and say, AFCC should not investigate somebody who stole money. I begin to wonder. I'm not a lawyer, but sometimes when I see what they do, I'm surprised what's happening in this country. Now, you raise one issue. Who checked federal government? The Senate has to have been the arm of government that will check them. But you see, when we are a synergy, it's an issue. If you look at the past, the 8th assembly, you see there was problem all through because there was no agreement between, because you know how the leadership came in and how he went, and there were issues. The state has again in a part of the state check what the activity of the government, but they don't. If you are the speaker and I'm governor of the state, I put the speaker, you cannot check me. No, those are the issue, and that's why we're having the problem we're having in those states. So until we see a judiciary that is truly independent, not going to remember where we are. All the agitation on church control, what happened? The body was sent to jail. Where's Alimea today? He's been buried. There are people that started this agitation for religious control in this country. Now, before 2015, before Donald left government, there was what's called when everybody sat down and think of how do we move this thing forward. The report is there. All this thing we are talking about now, they're out there. But this government said, I'm not going to implement it. And there's not a yes in there's nothing we can do. So those are the until silence again. Let us treat our state as if you do anything, you account for it. Until we get there, until we start to do that, if you do anything wrong, you account for it. Look at the road. You can't go to Wari again now.
Never.
You can't go to road to Wari. How can you do an engineer?
Is that the problem of the judiciary?
Hold on. Barrister, you are going to react. You are going to react.
But that if
you're going to react.
If you that is say we're not controlling what we have. Yeah. If I give you a contract to do away from point A to point B, and you refuse to meet the specification, you go to jail. You go to jail.
And it's the court that will send you to jail.
And the court will not send you to jail because you have the big money. That's the truth. If you give them more big money, they won't send you to jail. They will start doing like this, they say, okay, let us discover, call it...
no case to answer.
No, there's one language they use, bargain. Someone who took the money for this country, private benefit of worker in this country, says you pay 7,000 naira. We pay 2 billion naira. He said, no, that's not funny. It's funny.
All right. Barrister, I know you have so much to say. You're trying to bottle up the emotion, but please watch your emotions. You have the right to react.
There's no emotion. So my friend said he wanted to become a lawyer. He wasn't fortunate. I understand his pain. But I was fortunate. I'm fortunate to be a lawyer. And I'm also fortunate, by the grace of God, to be in the forefront of things when it comes to the legal profession. And I want to tell you and tell Nigerians that the problem of Nigeria is not the judiciary.
It's not the judiciary, as against what they had led to.
I don't share that opinion.
Okay,
no, hold on. I will tell you why the problem of Nigeria is not the judiciary. The problem of Nigeria is Nigerians themselves. It's the politician who will go and steal ballot box or take touts to go and pursue people from polling units. It is the lecturer that will collect 20,000 naira to turn E to A and bring out some people from the university who don't know their nose and end up as politicians. Or the lecturer that will ask girls to go and pay money in the hotel and sleep with the girls and pass the girls. It's the journalist that would take money from politicians and turn the truth on his head. So if you say the problem of Nigeria is the judiciary, you are misleading Nigerians. And if you say that somebody stole 6 billion, he was asked to pay 700,000 naira, there was a conviction that was involved. It's not as if they said go, and he was convicted. And he was sentenced to jail and asked to pay that fine. And the issue of plea bargain is provided for by our laws. We should not mislead Nigerians. The law says that if you committed an offense and you do not allow the state to go the whole hog for the trial, you save the state's time and resources. You can enter into a plea bargain with the prosecution. Are you with me? It's an agreement. It's there in the Administration of Criminal Justice Law, Administration of Criminal Justice Act. So you can say, okay, I will either go to jail for this social amount or convict me, I will forfeit all my properties. Not when you plea bargain, whatever you stole, that you're not going to return it. There's restitution in our laws. So it would not be fair for you to just generalize the judiciary. That's the problem of Nigeria. There are still some good judges. There are still some good magistrates. There are still some good lawyers that still fight for the people. When you say you advocate for your pocket, that's not true. There are lawyers who advocate for the masses. Before Tadeferi died, he took up issues. I'm taking up issues that has to do with society, even at the risk of my life. So please, it will not be fair for you to say that lawyers advocate for their pockets. That's not true.
But some do.
Some do. Lawyers are in business. Are you with me? These people, they have family to feed. Are you with me? That's not to say we as lawyers, we are ministers in the temple of justice. And what normally we do is to ensure that justice is done. You don't just say that the judiciary will not send you to jail when you steal, or they will not say no case. Are people not in jail? Is Joshua Dariye not in jail? Who put him there?
Government.
No, listen to me now. Don't politicize everything.
Collins, don't interject.
Listen, please.
Just allow me finish.
Do not politicize everything. It's not everything in Nigeria that is politics. There are still some cases that systems run and systems go well. It will not be fair, because just like you have bad eggs in journalism, sure, bad eggs in politics, you still have bad eggs in judiciary. I will not deny that. But not for you to say everything in judiciary, everybody in judiciary is bad. We have had courageous judges who issued judgments against the state government. The issue of what was it called, the environmental sanitation, it was a judge, a high court judge, that gave a judgment that said what you're doing is wrong. The matter is currently on appeal. There's also the other issue of the removal of a local government chairman. The same courageous judge gave a judgment against the district government and set aside the whole process for the purported removal of the local government chairman. So please, it's not be fair for you to paint to the public that judiciary is bad. I let me also tell you, whether you like it or not, the judiciary is still the last hope of the common man.
Right. Thank you.
Whether you like it or not,
thank you.
I'm saying, it is still the last hope of the common man.
Is it, I'm a professor in university. Is it quite good? Is it quite right for people to write all professors, all lecturers in university clip who guess?
All right, now.
Answer the question.
Okay. Now,
I'm reacting to what you said.
Prof, barrister, calm down.
I'm reacting to what you said.
Both of you, please calm down. Calm down.
That's why I feel when you switch, I said the
Gentlemen, decorum.
Listen.
Decorum.
I got you there, Prof.
No, you get it.
Decorum, please.
Excuse me, listen.
Yes.
My department, I'm a professor of judicial and diplomatic engineering.
Yeah.
The department where I head, we don't collect money.
All right.
We don't sleep with our guests.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Prof. Prof,
So is it fair for
Prof,
you to say,
let's not go personal now.
is it fair for you to say that judiciary is the problem of the country?
I said, judicial is one of the problems.
Okay, thank you. Now, Collins, now, let me come to you, Collins. Gentlemen, it's okay. Now, let's drop the personal banter. Let's put it aside. Now, let's come back to the allocation of the sharing formula. How does it concern the judiciary?
Very good question.
Now, thank you very much. You see, for a very long time, as I said, during Bukola Saraki, when he was the governor,
Yeah.
and chairman of the Governors Forum, that was when this agitation had its retold. Then when Amechi took over, it also had another effect. And the then party he belongs, the PDP, felt it was disloyalty, which is my party today, felt it was disloyalty to take the party to court. But what they were doing was trying to set a standard of true independence, where we can do things right. And how can they get these things right? It was to go to the court. They all went to the court on speedy or on an issue of such that has to do with the state and the operation of the country, as it were. You expect the judiciary to speedy up the actions on that and make us know where we are. If truly they were right to ask for increase, or if truly they were asked for true federalism, or if really, how should they go about it? That is the essence why they are there. They are there to get both parties right, you know, including sometimes in their own cases when they are wrong. Their overall head, you know, look into it, which is the supreme level, the Supreme Court, as it were. That is where that section is made up of an organ of men of eminent value. Then it has not become political. Before you become a Supreme Court judge, you would have been tested both in your sense of thinking, in corrupting level, in your usual disposition, and in all the cases you have adjudicated on. But quite unfortunate, these days the same Constitution of the Federal Republic have now also turned back, or somehow now also created an avenue which the politicians now took time to look into, that they have the power to finally endorse who they will wish to become the president of the Supreme Court, as it were. But however, we are hoping that someday we'll have a new constitution.
You are misleading Nigerians.
That will guide us. Now,
that's not
calm down, Douglas, calm down.
Those issues till today, which Bukola Saraki, Amechi, and what have you have been fighting, the judiciary have not been able to tell Nigerians the way out. Whether there should be increment, we should go to practice true federalism, or how the resources can be controlled, or if they will call the Fiscal Commission into order, Allocation Commission to order, on how they should go about it. In short, the judiciary is encompassing. It touches everything that has to do with governance, and even outside governance. But because these are not forthcoming, that is why you see they will still carry their Ghana must go. All of them will run to Abuja and be begging the federal government. If the federal government chooses to support his party people, he will tell them, prepare another proposal which we will use to support you, either through ecological problem or just look for disaster to bring up. From there, we will make a very pressing case for you, for your state. We push money from there to you. You can then sort out whatever the problem you want to solve. It becomes political and become non-interest for the country. But now, the judiciary, with their slow pace of educating, how can we ever move forward? We cannot. Now these two lions are fighting. This is, okay, should I say a tiger and a lion? But they have both strong venom. Now they are both fighting. Who then separates? It's supposed to be the court.
All right. Wow. Judiciary, and of course
has nothing to do with allocation.
All right. But for what he said, because then is that he gave a kind of how would I put it now, an analogy of what really transpired when from resource control going to court and all that. It's like, a build up to the sharing formula. Now, if this is really given, before we get to that, do you see the federal government listen to the state government to really give them what they're really acted for?
You see, I want to first of all react to him mentioning Amechi. When Amechi was in PDP, he was fighting for rest control. The question is he fighting for rest control as to speak? So those are the issue. Politician will always be a politician. When they are in that camp that favors them, they keep quiet, they keep mute, allow it to up. So when the issue is not against them, they start fighting.
I just wanted to, so we not escape that. Now, please, that's at that time it was in the same PDP.
Yes.
At that time it was fighting.
Of course.
So meaning, even if he wants to get gains like other governors under PDP, maybe through ecological, what have you, he would have still got it.
All right.
When the court is not forthcoming, who is him to stick to?
Collins, okay, you made a point. So please continue, Paul.
It was in PDP, but the government of the day was not in his favor. It was not in the good book of Jonathan. So we look at that means to fighting. That's the truth.
The court should not look at that.
That's the truth. So the court, yes, we know that I have said that if my is not comfortable, I said, I still remain. Judiciary is one of the major problems we have in this country. If you can see the judiciary that say the way it is, then we have issue.
All right, now back to the
question.
question. You see the federal government.
I'm not seeing the federal government listening to them. Because I don't understand. If the source of the revenue go to federal state, all the money from the state go to the center, I don't see Buhari asking for a reduction. Maybe probably by listening to them, increase the percentage to not what it demand for, and that has to go through the constitution. I don't know what Barabacha will say.
That's what was stated upon.
So these are the issue. So if it is not a thing, it's not a thing that he will just okay, it's approved. Let us go through the deliberation, consultation, and see how, if he will listen.
And that will take another 6 years.
Yes, we know how now we don't have a minister now, so we don't know what.
Don't be no greater. Come 20. Okay. All right. Now, Barrister. Well, we're not going to take this personal. We're not taking it personal. Just carrying their own opinions, and of course their views. Now, from what he said, the federal government might not listen to them because it has come up before, and nothing was done about it. Do you see this related to the cry for the minimum wage? And if it is, do you see the federal government listening to the governors?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the minimum wage just increased, the state governors are going to have a lot to pay as salaries, to their workers. And just to put the issue in perspective, the rejigging of the revenue sharing formula in Nigeria is not to be done through a constitutional amendment. The Constitution has imbued the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission with the powers to do that. So the commission is made up of a commissioner from each state of the federation and from the FCT, of which one of them is the chairman. And the current chairman is one engineer, Mbam. It's your colleague, Prof. So what is going to happen is that, as I understand, on Thursday, they set up a review committee, to look at the issues. So that review committee would meet over time and submit a recommendation to the president. I'm sure that issue will be decided at the National Economic Council meeting, which is usually presided over by the vice president. I also understand that about 2011, the Governors Forum had they put up a subcommittee in place, headed then by the then Governor Raji Fashola of Lagos State, and they recommended 42% to be the allocation to be given to state governments. And that it appears as if they are standing on that fulcrum as a negotiating point with the federal government. My friend said 6 years. It will not take 6 years. But I know, just like everything that is Nigerian, it will take some time. It has to go through the process. Nigeria is a very funny country. You set up a committee. The committee will bring out a report. You now set up a committee to bring out a white paper. When they will bring a white paper, you now set up a committee to scrutinize the white paper. So it's just the bureaucracy. It's too much. Well, I just want to ask my colleagues, stop bringing judiciary to everything. There's nothing one of them has said in this program that they've not brought in judiciary. You were talking about the issue of resource control. There are two things that can happen to a case. It's either the case is on appeal or the case has been struck out. So you look at the merits of the case. See, as a matter of fact, my dear friends, it's easy for you to just be outside and you are saying things. When you are inside, you understand more. Do you understand? The court acts on evidence before it. The court will not manufacture evidence. And the court is not a Father Christmas. The court will not give to you what you did not ask for. Do you understand? There are rules that guide court proceedings. So if the party that you are saying wanted an interpretation of the resource control did not do a very good homework and case very well, the other party will go and pick holes in it and present it to the court. And the court will determine it based on the evidence before it. Now, you're talking about the slow pace of justice, which I completely agree with you. Now, you'd be interested to know that the slow pace of justice is tied to the legislature and the executive. And I'll tell you why. You cannot appoint judges in Nigeria without the executive having a say. Because apart from the federal government, federal judiciary, which has a level of financial autonomy, there is no financial autonomy in the state judiciary. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So before the National Judicial Council can can appoint judges, for example, in Edo State, the state government will have to present facts to show that, one, there are official vehicles for the judges to be appointed, and that they are official residents, and that there's budgetary allocations for their salaries and emoluments. So if the state government says we don't have it, you can't appoint judges. So you must understand these things.
Right.
We just say judiciary. The judiciary has its own problems.
All right. So you're speaking like the PRO right now. Speaking like Douglas Obankwa. Personally, okay, Douglas Obankwa.
Yes,
okay, gentlemen, now to call it a wrap on this segment, because close to 45 minutes we're talking on this state allocation, state governors demanding, is it going to cause any difference, even if the federal government choose to oblige the governors? Will there be any changes in what Nigerians are passing through in various states of the federation? As your closing remark.
Okay, thank you. But quickly, before I just hit him, I want to appreciate my very learned
judiciary again.
Yes. No, he said we know courts act more on evidence. Yeah. But I just wanted to prove one point, which we all followed up, in the recent time. The issue in Osun State, where a residing officer, electoral residing officer, said, I mistakenly deducted over 1,000 votes from a particular candidate, which was supposed to be his evidence. The person came in person to even present himself as an evidence to show that I made an error at this level. I minus so 1,000 plus. And the same judiciary said it doesn't matter.
No, that's not what happened.
Anyway,
so, okay,
we're not talking about that. You have a minute to call it a wrap. 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute.
Yes. On having impact, even if there is increment. Yes. I want to tell you, he who can manage a kobo can manage 1 million. He who can manage 1 million can manage 10,000. But in some cases, to be candid, where you have governors before they become governors, they tell you they will bring industries from your backyard to your front, from your left to your right, and when they become governors, quote and unquote, those companies they intend to invite refuses to come. They can't generate revenue. The very little caravans around are overtasked, and what comes from the federal to them is minimal. When they pay teachers, they pay half of civil servant. They can't even complete the payment. Putting all the resources together, in some cases even denying themselves or their own allowances. Yet they can't meet up to even borrow, no bank to even borrow them. In such a case, will the governor cut his head and generate funds? No. Now, even if he says, let me see some money and quickly see how I can quickly pump it into agriculture, with the citizenry who are already under the payroll, make the sacrifice, will protest not start after 2 months before even what he intend to put the money generates? Now is another problem. Okay. And once you begin to hold, you begin to be dense.
1 minute is over.
Good. So what you not share, whatever they give to them, I am very sure it will go a long way in abating this problem of scarcity of funds.
Thank you.
They may not solve it all.
Thank you.
They will still need to bring their heads to the table.
Thank you so much, Collins.
Rob? Yeah, you see, if government succeed, if it succeed in increasing the revenue allocation, fine. For those governors who are prudent enough to manage what they have now, they can do better. Right. For governors who are wicked, who come to be wicked, there's no can do about it. A wicked man is always a wicked man. I understand that in Kogi State, those who benefit from the Kogi State are the masquerade that they get a lot of money.
Masquerade?
Yeah. I was here, my brother. So people who were a guy was selling a charge card, who had a mansion building, who was a masquerade? Who had a mansion in a hotel. Yes. So a bad governor is always a bad governor. That's what we can do about it.
Right. Obankwa?
I think governors should cut, if I just government, federal, state, they should cut down on wastages. Why should a governor have a convoy that's more than that of the President of the United States? Why shouldn't a governor have like 3-4 cars like the governor of Edo State has on his convoy? Why should a commissioner not just have a car? How must you have a Hilux going with that behind you? All these things are because the Hilux is expensive. The fuel you're using is expensive. All these parties that they organize, you should stop that. Then come down, you look at the procurement process, you see there's a lot of fraud in the procurement process. Something that goes for 1 naira, you go and buy it for 10 naira. Those are the issues. The budget, they say budget padding. Let's look at the budget. Why shouldn't we have experts, consultants, like audit experts, to look at our budget and say, how come this price of this table is 16 naira when in a Uselu market or New Benin you can get it for 5 naira? So those are the issues.
So will it make any difference?
It would, because you'll be able to cut leakages.
No,
I'm talking about the sharing formula right now. If they should give 42%, will it make any difference?
Excuse me?
Will it make any difference in the life of the people?
Of course, it may make more difference. It
Right.
will make some other people more
Thank
millionaires.
you. Thank you.
Excuse me. The issue of procuring.
Yes.
What the problem is that they give. It happened in my university. They give you contract to execute. Yeah. You take loan from the bank. For 1 year, 2 years, you don't get money back. So
And the loans are accumulated.
But
Interest.
yes, so that's the issue we are facing.
All right.
So why shouldn't they?
So that's
why
when they
would you
jack
give
the
contract
price.
for
Thank you.
the way you don't have money to pay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Well, you've heard them. Let's see who will bend in this matter or who is going to break in this matter. Will the federal government listen to the state governors? Will there be 42% increment, or will they really say, fine, let's just give you less of 42 at least to augment the minimum wage? Gentlemen, I appreciate your wonderful analysis. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation.
Pleasure being here.
Up next is the state of the nation, the well-being of Nigerians. How are you faring in this administration? We'll be right back. Do stay tuned.